Hi, hi. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. I feel like, yeah, I think I missed 2 Mondays, right? Of doing these because one, I was away in Paris, and then one, Megan and I did our content workshop. So I have missed getting to do these and be in here. So happy to be back and to be chatting with you today. I'm super excited about our topic today because, as always, I always am picking topics that are conversations I'm having all the time and things that are coming up with clients all the time. And this is something that I always talk about with clients and don't really think I've talked about live or publicly all that much. And sometimes I notice that where it's like I have the conversation with all my clients, so I feel like I'm having the conversation all the time. And then I'm like, yeah, except I'm not doing that publicly. So we're going to do this publicly. So today we're basically talking about each new level that you get to in your business, are you experiencing a new challenge and how to actually break through the thing that's actually keeping you stuck and have a much better year because of it, instead of like always feeling like you're running up against and hitting another challenge, another challenge, another challenge, right? So what I see that we do is that we often think that every time we move forward in our business, we have a new problem. So it's like first messaging. How do I get my message right? My message is the problem, my message is the problem, my message is the problem, right? Then it's like, how do I get visible? Oh my God, getting visible is such a problem. How do I do this? What do I need? What do I have to do? Like, what's the right way to do it? What's the right thing to say? Blah, blah, blah. And on and on and on. Then sales is a problem. Sales calls are a problem. How do I fix this problem? It's a whole thing, right? And so what happens is that we as humans, and like how our brain works, is that we're always so quick to look for and try to solve a new problem, right? Hey, Debbie, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here. So as humans, we're like always wanting to solve a new problem. And something about having a new problem makes us feel safe. Like it's like, well, if there's something to fix, then I can feel better almost, right? Like if there's something to fix, then it's fine because I can like put my attention on that. But the problem is that in business, we end up chasing our tail, always trying to find and solve a new problem. Find and solve a new problem is how a lot of people run businesses. And listen, there always are new challenges in business, and you certainly don't want to not be making forward progress. But I often think that there's so many fewer problems than we really realize. And we're always, in many ways, trying to create more, I think, because we want a new problem to solve instead of being okay with like letting it evolve and letting it be okay and knowing that sometimes results take time, etc. So we're going to talk about like what to do when you hit that new level, when you have a new challenge, and like how to kind of differentiate, like, is this actually a problem to solve, or like what's really going on here, right? So again, as humans, we're just always looking for the problem, but the real problem is usually that we're jumping from one issue to the next, right? Everything's a fire, everything's reactive, everything's a thing. Visibility is a thing, messaging is a thing, sales is a thing, getting my funnels is a thing, getting this new software is a thing, that's a thing, it's a thing. It's like never ending, right? Of like trying, like identifying holes and trying to fill them, identifying holes and trying to fill them. And it makes us crazy. It makes us tired. It makes us burnt out. It has us spending money we don't need to spend in our business. It has us doing busy work that we don't need to do, etc. And so what I have found to be true over and over again, actually, before I tell you that, can you guys tell me, if you're listening or if you're watching the replay too, what is the problem you feel like you need to solve right now in your business? I don't know if you guys know, probably if you've watched my live streams, you do, but I do really good when I can use examples. So if you're watching, tell me, what is the problem you feel like you have to solve right now in your business? Let me know that in the comments. I really would love to be able to make this applicable to that. So what is the problem you feel like you need to solve? Like, what's your new challenge right now? What's the challenge you're focused on in your business? Cool. Okay. So what I have found over and over again, and all of the work that I do with my clients and all of the work I've done on myself over the 3+ years of running this business, and seeing it again in people over and over again, is that at each new level, a new surface level challenge presents itself. But for most of us, the actual issue is always the same. So when I say a surface level challenge, I mean something like, once I, whatever, sign my first client, the new surface level challenge that presents itself is like, how do I serve that client really well? And listen, it's a new level, and so there's new work to be done. But I think that a lot of times we get wrapped up in feeling like there's a problem with that, or there's a challenge with that, right? Estrella says, bring in more clients consistently. Beautiful. Hey, Natalia, thank you for joining me. Debbie says, declutter my calendar so I can make more space for things I want to do to move my business forward. Okay, amazing. So bring in more clients, find more time, declutter a little bit. Amazing. Okay, cool. If you're listening, tell me, what is the number one challenge you feel like you have to solve right now in your business? So we'll use these. Like, you get a bunch of clients, and then the new challenge is, how do I find the time to serve these clients and still market, et cetera, right? But what happens is, instead of keeping it really simple and just doing the things that we need to do, we get really wrapped up in problems around these things. But I can't clear my calendar because of this, or like, I want to bring in more clients consistently, so I need to market consistently. But oh my God, marketing consistently is so hard. And I need to know what else to do. And oh my God, I have to solve this problem. I have to solve this problem. I have to solve this problem, right? But that's all the surface level stuff, right? What actually is underneath all of that is almost always the same. And it's the same challenge you're going to experience at every level in your business. So here's what I mean by that. I'm going to give a few different examples, but keep yours coming too, because I would love to know them. But usually we have like this core story we're telling ourselves that is like the thing under all of the surface level things. So a lot of my clients, their core thing is, I'm not enough, right? It's the story that permeates everything they do. So when they're trying to pick a message, it's not enough. It's not good enough. It's not unique enough. It's not captivating enough. It's not cool enough. It's not different enough. I could go on and on, right? And then maybe they kind of get through that, and then they get to visibility. I'm not posting enough. I'm not doing enough. I should be doing more. I should be on more platforms. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough, right? Then they knock through that. Then they get into sales. I'm not making sales in the way I need to. I'm not making people happy enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough, right? And so the real problem is that nothing's enough and they never feel enough. The real problem is not messaging, visibility, or sales, right? So I'm going to give you a bunch more examples because I know that this can be like hard to take in at first, but it's also life and business changing if you do. Rita says, hey, this is my favorite topic ever. Amazing. Rita, I was saying that it's so funny because I feel like I talk about this all the time. Like I talk about it at Happy Thoughts Retreat. I talk about it with like every one-on-one client I have, but I don't think I've ever talked about it publicly. I think because I feel like I'm talking about it all the time. So here we are talking about it. So does that make sense? So the real question is would this problem be different if I felt enough? So is visibility really the problem, or would that not be a problem if I felt enough, right? So I'll tell you guys what mine is. So mine is always about like control and safety. This is sort of like my core thing in business, right? And so let's just use a bunch of examples. Team. Anytime I'm having trouble with my team, it's almost always going back to like, I like to control things. So instead of deciding and getting all wrapped up in the axle of like, team is a problem, my team is a problem, what's really a problem is me letting go of control more. Same with clients, for example. Anytime I'm frustrated with a client, 9 times out of 10, it's because I cannot control what they do and that they have to listen to everything I say. The client isn't actually a problem. My desire to want to control everything is the problem, right? Let's talk about content. Anytime I'm like worried about putting out content and how it's going to be perceived, the perception is not the problem. My desire to control everyone's perception is the problem. So what's only and ever going to keep me stuck is trying to control things. It's not each new problem. It's not each new layer. It's not each new level. And the same problem is going to come up for me at each new level. Wanting to control what one client does is the same as wanting to control what 30 clients in a group program does. Wanting to control what one team member does is the same as wanting to control what 6 team members do, right? And so what I have found to be true with myself and my clients is that if you get to the thing under all the thing, each new challenge will come up and it will be an opportunity. But whenever you're feeling stuck, 9 times out of 10, it's about your core issue. And if you know that and you know how to handle it, it's so much faster to move through it. Like, this is truly that quantum leap moment in your business, is identifying what this is and getting faster and faster and faster at solving it. So does anybody listening now or watching the replay feel like they know what their thing is? So one that I mentioned before and that I see a ton is enoughness. I would say probably like 70 to 80% of my clients, that's their core thing. They're always working on feeling more and more enough. Mine is definitely about like control and safety. I know someone else is sort of like this idea that like they don't, it's sort of enoughness, but it's like this idea of like they never know the right way to do things. So there has to be a right way and I don't know it. There's a right way and I don't know it. There's a right way and I don't know it. So with content, there's a right way and I must not know it. With visibility, there's a right way and I must not know it. With messaging, there's a right way and I must not know it. So do you see how that's so funny? Because it's like the same thing at every level, even though it always feels like we're dealing with a new challenge, right? But the question is if that weren't true, would this actually be challenging? So if I actually did know the right way to do it, how would this problem be different? If I actually did feel in control, how would this problem be different? If I actually was enough, how would this problem be different? Right? Natalia says control and security too, as you know, girl, hear that. Bridget says safety, totally. So it's so interesting, right? Because when we know that, like when Bridget knows, like every time I go to a new level, I'm going to have some shit come up around feeling safe and I'm going to want to feel safe. And so the question is going to continue to be, would this problem be different if I felt safe, and what would I do? Right? Like that is fucking business changing, because you're actually able to make, how do I want to say this? So when you can look at it through this lens, you're able to make really good strategic business decisions instead of making really emotionally charged business decisions to fill a hole. So let's use the enoughness example, right? Let's think of this, right? So I don't feel enough, right? Natalia says, yes, I can totally see how it's the same at every level. It's so true. Debbie says worthiness and enoughness. Perfect. So let's use this as it relates to worthiness or enoughness, right? So it's sort of like, I don't feel worthy. Like, I don't feel like my content's enough. It's not good enough. The messaging's not enough. The content of the content is not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. And so when I think that, when I'm in that place, what happens? I'm not putting out content as consistently. When I do, I'm feeling really crappy about it. I'm probably watching for engagement really closely. I'm hanging my hat on how many people say they like it. If somebody has something negative to say about it, I'm taking it so seriously that I'm probably not posting content again for days and days and days and days. But if I can separate those two out, if I can go, I see what's happening here. This enoughness thing is coming up for me and I'm feeling not enough. I need to go do my enoughness work here. What does my business need me to do here? My business needs me to show up and post content every day. It's easy to make strategic decisions. My business needs me to put this message out every day. My business needs me to show up on live tomorrow. My business needs me to not go hide for a week, right? The strategic decisions become so much easier. Would this be different if I felt enough? Yeah, if I felt enough, I'd post content every day. Cool. So like, you got to go do your enoughness work, but you still got to post the content every day if you want to see your business move forward, right? Does that make sense? Like, same for me with control, right? Like, I have to go do my control work, but I still have to delegate shit to my team, right? Like, the strategic decision is delegate shit to my team, even if it's pushing all my control buttons. The strategic decision is go do my own work around feeling safe and in control and make sure I delegate stuff. And if I don't, if I make the decision around how do I feel more in control, I'm always going to be overwhelmed. I'm never going to be getting everything done, and I'm never going to feel supported. And my business is going to hurt a lot because of it, right? And so this is so important to know, because it's like sometimes we think it's so woo-woo and so airy-fairy, like, oh, what's the thing under the thing? What's the mindset stuff? And like, yeah, because the mindset stuff is what's going to impact practically what your actions are every day. So if I'm not doing my mindset work on feeling enough, every action I take is going to be in an effort to feel more enough. And think about it like this. Is that ever going to get me where I want to be online? If what I'm trying to do is with every post and every piece of content and every email and every call and everything, proving that I'm enough. Like, I'm tired just thinking about that. I'm so tired, right? But if I'm working on that separately, and then every action I take is about the next strategic business move, well, fuck, there's no way I'm not going to move forward super fast, right? And this is why this is always something I talk about with clients one-on-one. This is something Sarah and I talk about at Happy Thoughts retreats. This is like such a foundational concept of how I coach, because it is life-changing. I actually started to think about this concept when I was a therapist, because all of my clients would have like all these different presenting issues, i.e. they'd have this relationship issue with this person, and then they'd have this work issue and this personal issue and this whatever. And it was like so obvious most of the time that it was all tied to one thing. And then I got introduced to Jody England by Lindsay Landry. She has a podcast called Wild Soul Medicine Radio, which is really great. And she has this thing that she talks about, and she's a former therapist as well. And she talks about something called soul medicine paths. So it's kind of different, but she sort of talks about how like our souls all have like these distinct paths, and it's kind of about like learning the same lesson over and over and over again. And when I found that, I was like, oh my God, yes, this is what I've experienced as a therapist, and I can see how it applies to business so much, right? And so what it does is it speeds up every single process. So if you're listening and you haven't shared with us yet, I would love to know if you know what you think your thing is. Again, mine is like control safety. Natalia's said same. Debbie's is enoughness. We all have our stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, nobody doesn't have a thing. It's just knowing what your thing is. So here's why it speeds it up if you know what your thing is. If you look at every challenge you're having and go immediately to the underlying issue instead of this top level issue, it's so much faster. And if you create tools to deal with the underlying issue, it's even faster. So I know that now that I have tools to deal with my control stuff, to deal with my need for safety. And so when that comes up, it's so much easier because I can go to those tools and get through the problem faster and make the practical decision faster, make the strategic decision faster. So that's why this just completely will change your year, will speed everything up, will quantum leap you in your business, right? Because instead of going and trying to figure out like, what are the 5,000 things I need to know about how to like do visibility right, or how to have control over everything my team does, or, you just go, oh, this is that control thing. Let me go do that. Like, the speed is unreal, right? Bridget said, am I enough? Totally. It's like, I think that's just so many of us as women too in the society. Like, it's just always this idea of not being enough. But again, if we run our business from that place, it's really, really difficult to make good business decisions. It's really good or really difficult to be strategic, right? Thank you so much for sharing that, Bridget. So if you keep dropping down and looking at this thing under all the things and keep identifying it and recognizing it and looking at it and speaking to it and putting the effort into shifting it more and more and more, your speed is crazy. But there's two things that are important here. One is that it doesn't mean it's going to go away. forever, for the rest of my life, forever and ever and always, I will probably have a thing with control and safety. That's the bad news. The good news is that I'm not like all of a sudden developing all these other weird issues. Like I'm not all of a sudden having like whatever, all this enoughness stuff. Like that's just not my stuff, right? Just like if Debbie has enoughness stuff, she's probably not all of a sudden going to develop this like control and safety thing. So good news, bad news, right? But I think what so often happens, especially when we talk about like mindset blocks and things like that, is that we think there's like a place where it's going to go away, where it's going to be better and it's going to be perfect and it's going to be fixed and I'm never going to have to be in control again. Nah. But as soon as I can be okay with that and not make myself wrong for it, life gets easier, right? So if I'm not like, oh my God, there's that fucking control thing again. What's wrong with me? I thought I solved this. I can't believe I didn't solve this. What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? We're on a whole nother tangent. Like this isn't even about the business. Like this is like this whole other crazy road that we're going down, right? If I can go, yeah, I know I have a control thing. So of course it's showing up here. Let's solve it and let's go get on and treat this business like a business. Everything moves faster. Oh, Bridget, that's amazing. She said she literally bought a necklace that says I am enough. I love that. I love that you're reprogramming that and like getting so clear that like this is my thing. And so I have to do the work around that instead of being like, I need to go figure out a new visibility strategy, right? So good. So good. Okay, so that's a piece of it. Don't think that like by going, oh, I know what my thing is now, let me clear the block. Listen, you're going to get better, faster, smarter. It's going to be easier, et cetera, et cetera. It's going to be so much simpler to deal with each time. But stop thinking that you're going to get to a point where it's never going to come up again. Right? It doesn't have to, and it doesn't matter. Like when it comes up for me now, it's not that big of a deal because I'm familiar with it. I know it. It's fine. Right? It's like when I notice that my hair is getting too long and I need to get a haircut, I notice it and acknowledge it and deal with it. I'm not like, oh my God, I just got one 2 months ago. I can't fucking believe I have to do this thing. This is crazy. It's just like, is what it is. It's just a thing. Oh, my control stuff's coming up. It's time to go do some work. That's it, right? But most of us, honestly, if we're just going to be real honest here, most of us don't want to work on that issue. We'd rather look at the 1,000 surface level issues. Like I would rather buy a new course on messaging than have to face the fact that I have some fucking work to do on feeling enough as a human, right? I'd rather go have someone build me a visibility strategy than have to dive deep and work on the fact that I can't control everything, And so if you're watching this, I really want to say like, it can be easy to blow this off. It can be easy to keep solving surface level issue after surface level issue after surface level issue after surface level issue. But at the end of the day, that's a fast path to being burnt out, right? And it does not mean, and I really want to be super clear about this because I think sometimes I can get a little up in the air, but it doesn't mean that you don't ever have a new challenge at each new level you reach. Of course you do. Of course there's a new thing. Of course there's new stuff to figure out, new processes, new systems, new strategy, new everything. But most of the time, 9 times out of 10, the reason they feel so overwhelming is because of this stuff. So I'm not necessarily saying never do strategic work on your business, not at all. But what I'm saying is that if you keep feeling like everything is a huge challenge, everything's a huge issue, you're constantly solving all these surface level issues, it's probably this stuff. If you feel like you're pretty easily moving through each new level and pretty easily adjusting, it means you probably have this thing, whatever your thing is, more under control. So it doesn't mean you don't have to deal with new things. Certainly, I have to rise to each occasion and create a new system and a new process and a new strategy in my business each new level I hit. But that piece is like, whatever, 20% of the work. 80% is knowing what my thing is and doing the work of the thing under the thing so that all this feels easier and simpler and I can actually make strategic decisions instead of making decisions about how I can feel more in control. Does that make sense? Give me an emoji if that makes sense. So I want to really make sure you understand that. So give me feedback if you do or if you don't. If you do, give me an emoji. If you don't, tell me what I can do to explain it better. But do you like how I said that? Tell me how to explain it better. Tell me what your question is. But the thing is like strategy matters, right? The practical piece of like at each new level, there's a new thing we have to do is totally true. But if it's always feeling hard, if it's always feeling difficult, if I always feel like I'm hitting a wall, if I never feel like I'm hitting the flow, if I never feel like my business is moving forward with ease, it's not the thing. It's not the visibility. It's not the messaging. It's not the sales. It's not the whatever. It's this, right? And if I get this under control, the visibility, the strategy, the sales, the whatever gets easier and easier. Like I just had a conversation with my sales mastermind this morning. Thank you, Estrella. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Natalia. Okay, perfect. I just had a conversation with my sales mastermind this morning. And one of the women in there was basically like, listen, I know what I need to do. Like, I know I need to sell more. I know I need to share more consistently. It's just so hard when I sit down to do it. And so what she'd been looking for a long time was like, what's that sales strategy? What's that sales strategy? And then when she kept running into it was like, sell more. And she was feeling super frustrated because it's like, she couldn't figure out like why that wouldn't work for her. Well, because she's not feeling enough, because she has mindset work to do, right? So it's like the strategy was never going to be the answer for her. Does that make sense? Okay. Thank you, Bridget. Okay. So again, strategy matters, but the difference is that if you can recognize this thing under the thing, that's when you can actually be really strategic. That's when you can actually treat your business like a business. You can do specific strategies without making them mean so many things, i.e., someone not responding to my sales post means I'm not enough is a huge problem because it stops you from moving forward with your sales. If you're like, oh yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Strategically, that's what I'm doing. And over here, I'm doing my mindset work. Then when someone doesn't respond to your sales post, you make another one and then maybe you get a sale on the other one, right? So this is the work that helps you actually treat your business like a business, actually have strategy in your business, actually lean into it instead of moving through your business trying to fill your enoughness hole or trying to fill your control hole or trying to fill your safety gap, right? So I really hope this is helpful. I hope that if you're feeling like you're challenged a lot in your business, that this really like condenses it down. But what I want to encourage you the most to do is let yourself think about this. Let yourself figure out what your thing is and let yourself do this work. Stop looking at all the surface level stuff because you're just going to get tired and drained. And you're going to tell yourself this story like, gosh, maybe I'm just not meant for this business. Maybe this business just isn't for me. Right? It's so easy to start telling that story when we're so wrapped around all these surface level things, right? When you can drop down, when you can get underneath it, everything will change. But it's the hard part, and doing this work is the hard part, and wanting to do this work instead of paying someone else to give us another strategy or taking another course or doing another thing, man, it takes some effort. It really, really does take effort. So I do not want to make light of this where I'm like, oh, just go like fix your thing under the thing and then everything will be fine. This is the stuff that takes freaking work and discipline and relentless resilience, quite honestly, to keep going. It's not about the business. I got to go do my work. It's not about the business. I got to go do my work. If you do that, you're going to see massive results. But again, it's not the easiest part. It's the part we have to train ourselves for. So if you're watching this and you're like, fuck, I'm not here for this. I just want to know what my visibility strategy is. I get it. I swear I do. But if you want to change your year, if you want to change your business, if you want to change your life, this is the first piece of work to do, quite honestly. Estrella says, thank you so much, Lacey. I just joined the group today and have already gotten so much value. Amazing. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and for joining me live. I love you and I love that. I'm so happy to hear that. Thank you. Okay, so resource. If you're like wanting to dive into this, I really would recommend my MSE framework as a piece for this because a lot of people are like, well, okay, cool. So now what? The thing with the MSE framework that's really useful is it really does look at the mindset, strategy, and execution of your business. So we start with mindset, we go into strategy, and we talk execution. And so it helps you look at the mindset piece first, but it helps you see how dealing with that helps you be more strategic. So again, it's not about like, oh, fuck it, there's no challenges. There's nothing strategically to do. No. It's just like, we got to do the mindset work first. So if you need help with that, that's the place to start. Download that. I'll put a link here. Let's see, what did Bridget say? She said, it's so true. I almost wanted to dump my business in September and then hunkered down, and now I'm having the best month in my business ever. It took lots of time and is going to be a constant thing for me to support me throughout this process. Exactly. It's so funny. I was talking to somebody else about this, Bridget, and their thing was enoughness too. And they were saying like they had all this momentum in their business. They got clients, they grew their group, they did all these amazing things. And then they like were really starting to extra feel not enough. Like sometimes the momentum almost like increases it, right? Like when I'm feeling like extra, like full of clients and my community is growing and my team is growing, that's when I feel the most out of control. It like pushes the button, right? When we're having like amazing results, it's when we feel the most not enough sometimes. So she was telling me how she like closed down an amazing Facebook group and took a break from her business when it was kind of at the height. So I think that's what you're saying, where it's like you had this moment where it's like, okay, forget it. And now you're like having all these results because you stuck in it and did that work. So kudos to you, and totally agree. It's like, this is for sure the thing. And so again, if you want support with that, MSC framework is an amazing place to start. Look at the mindset first, then pick the strategy, but pick the strategy from a place of running your business like a business, from knowing what your mindset stuff is, but not making your business decisions based on it. And your entire year is going to be different. Like, you will be amazed. So if you are watching the replay, I would still love to know what your thing is. Maybe I have some resources for you. One of my clients actually found this thing on YouTube where it like just repeats like 1,000 times or something. I am enough. Like, just funny little stuff like that makes such a difference, right? Doing the work, making that change, making business decisions from the place of like, would I make a different decision if I felt enough here? Would I make a different decision if I felt in control here? It's just so important, and it's so good. And it's the thing I see keeping people the most stuck, is they want to keep going, yeah, mindset, but I really need to figure out my visibility strategy. No. If your visibility strategy is trying to fill your enoughness hole, that is not what you need to do. Does that make sense? So let us know what your thing is. If you need support, grab the MSC framework. Thank you guys so much for being here. Bridget said it really does. Love that. Amazing. Appreciate you guys so much. Hope you have a beautiful week, and I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.